The end of the Kursk bridgehead. The Russian army breaks through the rear and completely defeats Azov. Good day, dear friends. You are on the Ruslan Belov channel. We continue to analyze the frontline situation daily. Today, without any introductions or paying attention to Zelensky's statements, let's get straight to the point. Continuing our study of the front line by opening the map. Before we begin, I sincerely ask you to subscribe to the channel. Your subscription helps the channel grow. Many thanks to everyone who has subscribed. So do you remember when I told you about the Russian army's advance into Sumy Oblast? Many were skeptical, claiming that the armed forces of Ukraine, AFU, denied everything. Why people even believe AFU statements is another question. But a few days passed, and now all Ukrainian analysts and cartographers are confirming the Russian army's entry into Sumy Oblast. Let's examine why this operation was carried out, what forces were involved, and what the Russian army has achieved so far. Entry points. Where did the Russian army enter from? The first location was from the village of Sverdlikovo. This village is located right on the border, only 450 meters from the southern edge of the village to the state border. So when Ukrainian forces were driven out of the village, it was clear that crossing the border was just a matter of time. And it happened quickly. Yes, the approaches were mined in advance, but this was not a major obstacle. One cartographer failed to update the map properly, but other sources, like Deep State, have already marked Novenko as no longer under AFU control. There have been numerous confirmations that Russian forces are in Novenko, with reports estimating up to 2 companies, about 60 soldiers. I also received direct messages from a soldier requesting assistance with supplies. He mentioned that their next target is the village of Basovka. Basovka is the next village after Novenkoe, located 2.5 kilometers away. It is significantly larger than Novenko, as you can see on the maps. But as I've said before, and I'll repeat, the Russian army's goal in Sumy Oblast is not just villages, land or square kilometers. The key objective is the Yunakivka-Sudzha road. This road is crucial because it serves as the main supply route for the AFU's Kursk grouping. Previously, it was out of reach of the Russian army, allowing Ukrainian forces to freely move reinforcements and supplies. But with the Russian entry into Sumy Oblast, the situation has changed. Novenko is just 4.5 kilometers from Highway H07. If Russian troops take Basovka, they will be even closer, less than 2.5 kilometers from the road, allowing for direct fire control. This road has already become a road of death. Numerous videos online show destroyed Ukrainian vehicles along this stretch. Dozens of units have been lost, and that's just what has been captured on camera. Now, even while Russian forces are only in Novenkoe, the road is dangerous. If they enter Basovka, the situation will deteriorate even further for the AFU, second front in Sumy Oblast. But that's not all. Russian forces have also entered Sumy Oblast from another direction. The second entry point was near Nikolaev-Darin, where Russian troops took control of the village Juravka. The depth of the advance from this direction has already surpassed 4 kilometers. As you can see, these forces are also moving toward Basovka, aiming to link up with the other Russian grouping. This means Russian troops are advancing from both the northwest and northeast, with the meeting point being Basovka. The goal is to establish full fire control over the road, or even physically cut it off, completely disrupting AFU logistics. The impact of this is already evident. Due to supply shortages, problems with ammunition deliveries, troop rotations, and reinforcements, the northern section of the Kursk front has collapsed. Previously, the AFU held this area for months, but as soon as the road came under Russian fire control, logistical issues began, leading to cracks in the front line. Ukrainian retreat. In just the past 4 days, Ukrainian forces have been driven out of 6 villages: Mariivka, Pogrebki, Orlovka, Nova Sorochina, Stara Sorochina. Maps may still show Stara Sorochina under AFU control, but this is outdated information. Ukrainian troops have already been pushed out, and fighting is now happening in Malolokhnya. Malolokhnya is the largest Ukrainian stronghold in this sector. If it falls, the entire northern salient will be cut off, and that is exactly where things are heading. After Malolokhnya, the next step will be advancing toward Kazacha Lokhnya, and from there to the city of Sudzha. In general, according to the Ukrainian analytical resource Deep State, in just the past 4 days, the armed forces of Ukraine have lost nearly 36 square kilometers in the Kursk region, an average of almost 10 square kilometers per day. The Russian army has not advanced at such a pace here since at least October. As a result, the total Ukrainian-controlled bridgehead in this area has shrunk to 396 square kilometers and continues to decrease daily. Right now, battles are taking place in Lebedevka, and as you can see on the map, the fighting is already on the outskirts of the village. Meanwhile, Kurilovka is now completely under Russian control. This progress gives the residents of the Kursk region growing hope that they will soon be able to return home. Toretsk front line, March 2. Fighting in Toretsk. The situation in the Toretsk direction remains tense, with the level of difficulty higher than in the Pokrovsk arc. The AFU continues its attempts to advance and gain a foothold within Toretsk. In recent days, their tactical plan has become clear, launching two converging attacks, one from Sherbinovka and the other north of the Toretsk mine, with the aim of reaching the city center and forcing Russian units in northwestern Toretsk to retreat. Such a breakthrough would allow the AFU to showcase its capabilities and create a strong media narrative. However, this plan has not yet succeeded. Russian units, including fighters from the 132nd Brigade, are actively defending and launching counterattacks. The fighting is fierce. The AFU has managed to achieve localized numerical superiority, significantly complicating the situation. Russian forces are holding their positions, but additional reinforcements may be needed to maintain control. Pokrovsk Arc, March 2. Clashes continue. The situation in the Pokrovsk direction remains fluid and dynamic. The AFU continues its attacks, trying to achieve significant breakthroughs, particularly near Udaknoe and Kotlino. However, so far these attacks have not yielded substantial results. Russian units, including drone operators, artillery and aviation, are playing a key role in countering the AFU's advances. Additionally, intense battles are ongoing near Uspanovka, where both sides are taking losses. However, there have been no major shifts in the front line. Bolshaya Novoselka. Front line, March 2, Dnipro-Energia, Shevchenko, Volnoe Pole combat operations in this sector are focused on Dnipro-Energia, Shevchenko and Volnoe Pole. Over the past 2 days, Russian forces have secured full control over Berlatskoye and Privolnoe and are now working to push the AFU southward, beyond the primary defensive lines in this area. Fierce fighting is also taking place near Dnipro-Energia, a vulnerable spot in the AFU's defenses. This is why Russian forces have concentrated their efforts here. To ensure the success of the offensive, Russian units are also advancing south of Bogatyr, creating additional pressure from the east. The Russian offensive in this sector continues. Orakov front line, March 2, Malye Sherbaki. In the Orakov sector, the 58th Russian Army is conducting active reconnaissance operations, probing the AFU's defenses near Malye Sherbaki. Russian troops have secured forward positions in this area. It is too early to say whether Russian command intends to launch a full-scale offensive here. However, if the goal is to encircle and capture Orakov, this could become a key axis for a future assault. The situation remains tense, and further developments will depend on the actions of both sides. That's all for now. See you soon.